What's up, Barbarians? Today we have the Upheaval Barb, and unfortunately the only reason to play Upheaval is because you love the skill. I've tried many different variations with the Hellhammer, the Grandfather, even Shattered Vow to buff the Hellhammer's effect, and to get the most damage is you need to play Overpowers with Limitless Rage. Let's show off Pit 70. Okay. Hit Wrath of the Berserker, hit Bash a couple times so we get 10 stacks, and hit him with the Upheaval. One enemy left, just move on. See if he'll follow us. And this level here, where they're all like tightly packed, this is perfect. You can literally just go back and forth between everyone here, and boom. It's the wide open levels with Upheaval that you're going to have a little bit of trouble with. There we go. Yeah, so this level is really awesome. Oh, there we go. There's some good numbers there. And if you're ever low on your cooldown for Wrath of the Berserker, just hit your shouts, even if you don't need to, because we are using the Martial Glyph. I normally would not stand here and fight this guy, but he's going to give us a lot of progress on our bar. You definitely want to find groups. So most, if not all of your upheavals will be overpowered. That's why it's important to do the 10 stacks. And that's why it's also important that you have the Banished Lord's Talisman. So we use that, and we also use the Ring of Red for Roar. And they usually proc together. Along with the Ugly Bastard, which also helps. And the Ring of Starless Skies. That's just the best damage boost for what we have. I still think Upheaval needs some love. I think the Hellhammer needs a little bit of love. I think they need to buff the burning effect so it actually does something on World Tier 4, or do something else with it. The stats on it are really good, but the burning effect in World Tier 4 sucks. Okay, who do we have today? Ah, this guy. The old tree folk. So when you're fighting the boss, oh, this guy sucks. Make sure 10 stacks and then Upheaval. And when you are not berserking, your overpowers are going to be a little crappy. Yeah, like 6 billion, that's a good one. Double check on your bar to see if you actually are berserking. Right now we're not. So pop Rallying Cry. War Cry, sorry. But I also did pop Rallying Cry. And why we do that is we use the Martial Glyph, and we want to make sure that we keep bringing our Wrath of the Berserker on cooldown. So every time Wrath of the Berserker's on cooldown, pop all your shouts all the time. Even if you don't need them, just pop them. Especially when fighting the boss. And Upheaval still has trouble fighting bosses. We're doing a lot of damage, but it still makes the boss fight kind of rough. But I am glad that Upheaval can actually do decently in the pit. Honestly, Pit 70 is a win for this. I do wish you could go higher. There we go. See, that was on the low end for our overpowers. And when you hit Wrath of Berserker, try to hit Bash first. As you spend more with Wrath of Berserker, it increases our damage, which makes our overpowers even stronger. Okay, we gotta walk away for this. So hit there, and there we go. See? 2.5, not bad. And the Warbringer board gives us a barrier, which is really awesome. That's why I prefer use Warbringer over Bonebreaker. You could use Bonebreaker for another source of overpower. Let's just take a break for a second here. But I like the toughness of the Warbringer board. We can stand and tank almost everything. Except for standing and damage over time effects. Those are always the worst. Like I am right now. So we actually just hit Challenging Shout. And I knew I could tank that. That's how strong Double Barrier is. And look how weak that overpower was. That's why you need the Berserker. Okay, last hit. Oh, okay, one more hit. Oh, one more. Upheaval, Pit 70, no problem. Even though we deal a lot of overpowers, Upheaval and bossing still don't seem to mix. I have yet to solve that on how to make Upheaval deal more damage. I'm not sure how else I would scale this, and if you are playing Upheaval, let me know your build. In the helmet, we have the Ugly Bastard. In the chest, we have Bolcathos. Very important to get a GA on max life, and you do need to have one roll with Fury per second. And we only have two ways to apply Vulnerable. One is Pressure Point, and the other is the Exploit Glyph. Then we have the Conceited aspect, as we have Double Barrier up all the time. Ideally, you would want ranks to Upheaval instead of critical strike damage. For tempers, make sure you have your damage while berserking maxed out, and I did put one with Upheaval overpower stuns, one with Upheaval size, and then the other one with Pressure Point. In the pants, we use Relentless Berserkers to make sure that we are berserking 100% of the time. Next we have Yen's Blessing, which will automatically cast one of our shouts when we are using Upheaval or Bash. For our two-handed mace, we use the Aspect of Earthquakes for the 108% damage increase. And you want Strength, Max Life, Overpower damage. And we have two tempers of Upheaval to deal double damage, which is maxed out. Then we have the Shard of Rathiel, and we need the Shard of Rathiel for Bash, so we can proc more Ring of Furores and more Banished Lord Talismans. Then we have the aspect of Expectant. Because we're using Bash 3 to 4 times and then hitting Upheaval, we always get this 30% bonus. And very important for this weapon to have Bash Cleaves. Next we have the aspect of Limitless Rage. This is the best multiplier besides the Earthquake multiplier for our Upheaval. That's why you always have to hit Bash before you hit Upheaval. These two here is another roughly 100x increase to our damage. 30 here, 90 here when maxed out. Absolutely amazing for a damage increase. Then we have the Ring of Red Furore, which procs every Upheaval. Then the Ring of Starless Skies, which will increase our bash damage, but because we're also spending primary resource to do bash, because of our Shard of Rathiel, this makes sure that our Upheaval is always at 5 stacks for the 50% increased damage bonus. Then we have the Banished Lord Talisman, which is one of our main sources of overpowering. For our runes, we use Lith Tech and Pak Zeke. For the boss powers, we use Lilith Winds of Hate, Cinderat's Flames, as all our damage is converted to fire because of the Ugly Bastard Helm, Blackmailer Sabotage, which gives us double barrier because of how much fortify we get, and Belial's Eye Beams to make sure that we have more overpowered damage. For our weapon expertise, we use Two-Handed Sword. We use Two-Handed Sword for the Blood Rage board. We want every possible way to have Berserking in the build, and if now every enemy is bleeding, our Blood Rage will proc, which gives us another source of Berserking. If you are Berserking 100% of the time, go for Two-Handed Axe. For the skills, we take 3 points in Bash for Combat Bash, which is another way to overpower. We take 3 points into Pressure Point, 3 points into Warpath, and 7 points into Upheaval for a Furious Upheaval. Very important to get these 10 stacks, and they're very easy to get with the Bash Cleave's Temper. 3 points in Imposing Presence, 3 points into Martial Vigor, 3 points into Belligerence, 3 points into Rallying Cry for Tactical Rallying Cry, 1 point into Challenging Shout, 2 points into War Cry for Enhanced War Cry, 3 points into Booming Voice, 3 points into Aggressive Resistance, 3 points into Swiftness, 1 point to Pit Fighter to get 3 points into Slaying Strike, 3 points into No Mercy, 1 point to Thick Skin to get 3 points into Counteroffensive, 3 points into Heavy Handed, 3 points into Brute Force, 3 points into Wallop, and because Upheaval does stun enemies 45% of the time, and our enemies are vulnerable through Pressure Point and Exploit, this is always active, 3 points in Invigorating Fury, and 7 points into Wrath of the Berserker for Supreme Wrath of the Berserker. We use Unbridled Rage for our key passive. For our Paragon board, our first board is Martial. Our second board is Decimator, where we take Dominate. Our third board is Warbringer, where we take Wrath. Instead of taking Warbringer, you could take Bonebreaker for more health and another way to overpower, but the Warbringer board makes you pretty much unkillable because of how much Fortify and Barrier we get. Our fourth board is Blood Rage, and this is why we take Two-Handed Sword. Killing a bleeding enemy has a 10% chance to grant Berserking to help increase our Berserking time to 100%. Where we take Exploit. Our final board is Weapon Master, where we take Crusher. Upheaval is T4 viable. This works great in Helltides. T4 boss layers, I would definitely pick a different build. And for Upheaval to succeed even further, I feel we need a bit of a change to the Hellhammer. In order for Hellhammer to be best in slot, the burning effect needs some love. On normal difficulty all the way up to Torment 3, Hellhammer is absolutely amazing and it burns everything. It's a great effect. Once you get to Torment 4, that burning effect is almost useless. You can barely see it. Even while using the Shattered Vow to increase our damage over time, and using Andariel's so that we take 20x more damage from damage over time effects, Hellhammer's burning effect still doesn't cut it in Torment 4. I really think they need to increase this damage. If they can increase this damage to make this Torment 4 viable, this would be an absolutely amazing weapon. The unique effect versus 100% multiplier with a regular two-handed mace just makes Hellhammer not good enough. Even though with 10 ranks to Upheaval, on paper we do more damage, it does significantly less damage. Right here it says we almost deal 100,000 damage, and we are hitting on average 2 to 3 billion per overpower. With 10 ranks, we almost deal 140,000 damage versus 98. So 40,000 damage increase, but yet this is still worse because we have the 108% multiplier. Let's hope Blizzard can give Hellhammer some love for Season 9. Alright guys, if you like Upheaval, give this build a try, and I'll see you guys in the next one.